Hey guys, we are back with some more LA Kings franchise mode, and in this one, we are at the trade deadline, and I'm not going to jump into the trade deadline because it's going to take way too long. We're just going to make our trades and be done with it so that we can get on with the rest of the season because, to be honest, it's a losing season anyway. I mean, it's a cool feature, but, you know, it takes a little too long for videos, at least of my style. So what we're going to do, we have a couple of players to trade, and just for a second, I'm about to show you how broken trade values are in this game. As you can see by Martin Frk, as we saw in the last episode, his trade value is way up there, much higher than it should be. It shouldn't even be a third of that, in my opinion. I mean, you know, it should be more like around where I would say Grunstrom is at most. I really have no idea why his trade value is that much, but I'm about to show you what we can do. We're not going to do this, but it's possible with the way that the trade values are. So we're just going to say Frk and Kempe to, let's say, the Columbus Blue Jackets for Seth Jones. It just looks so stupid. I'm sorry. Frk and Kempe for Jones. Proposed trade. It works. It literally works. We're not doing that, but, like, it just shows you how broken the trade values are in this game. You need to fix those, EA. Desperately. And just for fun, we're going to see what we could get for Frk on the find trade function, because I'm very interested to see what the other computers would offer. Oh boy. A first, Drysdale, and a second from Anaheim. A first, a second in Senyshyn. A stall in 2 seconds. 2 seconds in Okposo. A first, a second in Lievo, a first, a second in Pistola. I mean, it just goes on. 2 firsts in Dickinson. Maybe a second in Pistola, assuming Pistola is young enough. Let's see. Yeah, 20 years of age, 60 overall. I could see how that would work. And of course, given that he has a multi-year contract, he's not up this year. He's almost definitely going to grow based off his trade value. I would say that's a fair trade. With the second in Pistola, not with the first. Definitely not the first. This is a fair trade in my opinion, but I'm at a loss for what to do because I feel like I'm going to have to do this for the entire GM mode, you know? Basically make trades even based on what I see as even, not what the game sees as even. I mean, I guess that's what we've been doing in the past anyway for most trades, but it just feels weird given that Frk has a lot more trade value than he should. Let's just see the value of Carolina's second. I mean, that's kind of up there. Again, I could see how it would work, though. I could see how it would work. But regardless, I don't think I can trade Frk for what the game is suggesting to, because it's just, I can't take it seriously. I really can't. I mean, that would literally break the game. We would, if we were to trade Frk for what the game was suggesting along with Lizotte, and, well, I mean, Carter's fair value. Carter's very fair value. But I'm talking about the broken players that have value like Frk and Lizotte, like, that would make this too easy. Way too easy. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. I feel like this is pretty fair value. A second, you know, those aren't always guaranteed to be good players. And then a Pistola and he's 20 years of age, 60 overall. He could be something. He may not be, given that he's a low top 6. We're just going to do it. Proposed trade. So apparently it's an absolute no-brainer for them in Carolina. So with that, we're going to call up Shore, because he's not on the top 6 in the minors anyways, and I guess we'll trade Lizotte just to get something back from him, because he is having a decent season. He has 28 points so far on 58 games, which for a 78 overall, 23 years of age, medium bottom 6, I mean, that's pretty good. So I could definitely see how he would have some trade value, just, once again, not as much as he's made out to have. So we'll see what the computers want from him, and then we'll edit the trade a little bit based off what I think is fair trade value. So what I can see for Lizotte from Tampa Bay, this is Tampa Bay's original offer, is Radish, a second, and a third. I could see Radish and a third. Radish is 23 years old, 76 overall, with a medium top 6, so it's not guaranteed that he'll make the NHL, and if he does, it's not guaranteed that he's going to live up to his potential, you know? So I think that would be fair. And then plus the third round pick. Lizotte's had some decent production, and he even in real life last year had some okay production there, 23 points in 65 games played. So I would say that's reasonable. And then you also have to consider that Radish hasn't played any NHL games yet, whereas Lizotte has nearly 2 seasons under his belt. So it's understandable. Like, you could theoretically make this work. I'm just trying to create any kind of scenario in my head where this kind of thing would work, because otherwise the trade value is just absurd. It really is. You could also make the argument that Tampa Bay is looking to win now, and Lizotte gives them a player to slot into their lineup right now, whereas Radish is not in their current lineup. So yeah, I think we're going to do this trade. Proposed trade accepted. They're going to be cheering in the streets when we announce this deal. All right, whatever you say. And now we're going to trade Jeff Carter, who I think has the most reasonable trade value of the guys who we have traded so far, or are going to trade in this instance. He has 36 points as a 36-year-old veteran. His contract's a little but he does have production this year, and that's what's important for him. He's also an established player. So Anaheim is offering a second and a third. Would prefer not to help out our division rivals. 5 of the 16 offers are from Anaheim, so they really want him. A second and a third from Carolina. Dallas a second and a fourth. St. Louis a second and Steen. I think I would rather take the Carolina offer. And then Fleury from Vegas. Yeah, I think Carolina's the winner here. And honestly, a second and a third for Carter, that's fair. That is definitely fair. I will take that. So I think that's all we're going to be doing at the trade deadline. I don't think we could do much more if we tried anyway. Kopitar, we can't trade Kopitar. He's got to retire as a King. I think Brown ideally should retire as a King as well. Doughty needs to retire a King as well, as does Quick. So and you know what? It's not like we need to shed any salary right now anyways. So I think that is just about all we're going to do. I know Anderson has some decent trade value, but I kind of want to hold on to him because I feel like he's going to grow. So that's certainly a risk that I'm willing to take. So Taylor Radish, pretty good acquisition for the first line in the AHL, because now it has the 76 Radish there instead of the 69 Madden, who moves over to the third line exchange for Kaliev on the first line left wing. So looking pretty good there. I'm expecting a big season for these three for the rest of the year, and hopefully that means Turcotte will jump up even more before the start of next season, which would be phenomenal. So just as a little recap here, we now have 8 picks in the first 3 rounds of the draft this year. I think that is pretty sufficient, so we will move on with the rest of the season now, and we are really just going to be hoping for the best as far as the draft lottery goes, because again, I'm not going to intentionally tank the season, but we're also not going to care too much about winning at the moment. So everything's just going to stay as is. Whatever happens, happens, basically. And let's get to the end. So here we are, end of the regular season of year number 1. We are currently sitting second last in the league, in front of the Islanders, who had just an absolutely terrible season, 28, 45, and 9. So obviously, hopefully the draft lottery luck goes our way, and that's all we can really look forward to at this time, as well as the growth of our current prospects, but not much to do in terms of winning right now. Actually, I stand corrected. We do have our AHL team, who looks like they are in the playoffs this year. So far, 44, 20, and 2. As a matter of fact, yes, they are definitely in the playoffs. So now we're going to follow along with the minor league team and see what Mr. Alex Turcotte can do for these Ontario Reign. It looks like he had a very good season this year. 64 points on the first line of the AHL, only 7 goals. Kaliev with 17 and 9, and then you had Radish with 21 and 23, and with us, he had 13 points, so not too shabby. So here we go, first round playoffs for the Ontario Reign against the, what team is that? HSK? I don't recognize that logo, or those initials for that matter. All right, well, nonetheless, we have a playoff series against them. 3-2 win in game number 1. 4-0 win in game number 2, and a 5-2 win in game number 3 for the sweep. We are moving on to round number 2. And now in round number 2, we have the Stockton Heat. There is a game 1, 5-1 victory. Game number 2 is a 3-2 victory. Oh boy, we are looking good so far. 3-2 loss. There's our first loss of the playoffs for the Ontario Reign. 1-0 win in game number 4. Game 5, we have a 4-2 loss going to a game 6. Don't push it to 7. There you go. There is a 4-1 win on the road. We are now facing Chicago, so they certainly are giving us a run for our money. Game number 5, we have a loss, and oh no, we had That's unfortunate. The important thing is that guys like Alex Turcotte and Arthur Kaliev and Taylor Radish got playoff experience, and hopefully that means, at the very least, Turcotte is ready for next year. He had 14 points in 15 games. He's almost undoubtedly going to be ready for the NHL next year, which I am very excited about. So I think at this point, all that is left is to see where we are picking in the drafts, but not before we quickly check out the player stats, because I forgot to do that when the season ended. So Doughty led our team in points this year, 67 points. Kopitar with 62. Kempe with 52. Iafallo with 44. And then the rest of these guys down here, nothing too impressive. Bjarnfot with 20 points. Maybe he'll grow a little bit. Anyone who I really want to keep my eye on, I guess Anderson Dolan. He appears to have grown a little bit. Same thing with Grunstrom. I believe he was a 78 to start the season. Now he's an 80. That's looking good. Anderson, 79. I think he was a 78, so he grew a little bit. We'll see what the offseason growth does for him. And then goalies, Quick with a 903, Peterson with a 910, and Villalta with a 900. We're also going to check on Byfield here. Where's stats now? Where is stats? Okay, good. He still has his stats. We just needed to go into this screen to see them. 79 points in 60 games. His season, I would imagine, is over at this point. So that was a pretty solid season for Byfield. Hopefully he gets up to at least an 80 overall by next season. Playoffs are complete, and the Stanley Cup champions are the Colorado Avalanche, and the Calder Cup goes to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And here we go. Where are we picking? We are picking 4th. That's unfortunate. So we got shafted a little bit there. Chicago moves from 14 to 1. Wow. That's like the same kind of deal they had a couple years ago when they moved up to get Doc, wasn't it? Yeah. Except this time they get first. Retirements, you have Hossa, Zetterberg, Gaborik, Kessler, Jokinen, Backus, Molson, Hainsey, Green. And no goalies retired this year. So let's take a look at the draft class before we get into the draft. And I think I might call it here. I don't know how long the draft's going to be. I might want to separate this into 2 videos. But there was someone who I was looking at number 8, who I think might be the best player available, honestly, in the draft. Even better, possibly better than Ratti as far as his NHL ready. Well, Ratti isn't exactly NHL ready to begin with, but he's got the high elite potential, which is what makes him the first overall pick. But I think that Keith Ho is the best player currently available in the draft. Now, as far as potential goes, he's a medium elite, so he's good, but he is, I believe, the most NHL ready. You take a look at Popov here. He's very good. He's NHL ready, but I wouldn't say he's the best, honestly. Slychuk, we don't have a report on him. He's in US East, where I did not have a scout. Christian Raymond, he looks good, but it looks like he's going to take a little bit to get NHL ready. Fritz, he's got some great stats, but we don't know much about him. Other than that, Wong, 3 years away from being NHL ready. Ulharo, or however you pronounce it, another 3 years away from being NHL ready. But Keith Ho, look at that. A's across the board. Leadership ability, puck protection, and magic hands as his strengths. And his stats in Liga weren't bad either. 10 goals and 8 assists in 58 games played. I think Keith Ho's our guy. I really do. His scheme fit is dump, balance, energy, block behind the net. If I'm not mistaken, our current coach has behind the net, I think, for the second line. I think the first line is overload, but he might be able to work on the first line anyway. I might have to double check that, but I think he'll work on the first line. What player type is he? I think he looks like he's a sniper. He may very well work on that first line. Yeah, I think Keith Ho's our guy. I mean, even though we're picking 4th, he looks phenomenal. He really does. I'm loving the way that Keith Ho is looking. You know what? Just to make sure that we get him, I don't think I'm even going to trade back. I think we may just take Keith Ho with our 4th overall pick. And I want to make absolutely sure that we get him. Yeah, I think we're going to end this one off here. So let me know what you guys think. And in the next one, we will get to the draft. And Keith Ho should end up being an official member of the LA Kings. I cannot wait. See you guys then.